Welcome to Bigger Than the Ball. This is episode 2 with me, Drew Burnham. Tonight, I got a very, very special guest for us. I'm really excited about this one. This fires me up. I've got one of my best friends in the world, Garrett Schwettman, here with us tonight. Thanks a lot, bud. Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So just a little bit about Garrett. Garrett is from Murray, Kentucky, home of the Murray State Racers and the Callaway County High School Lakers.
Let's go.
He's a legend in that part of the state, the little western tip down there. So just a little bit about Garrett's kicking career. After high school, Garrett went as a walk-on to Western Kentucky University as a kicker, where he ended up earning himself a full scholarship down the road. So we're going to talk about just his senior season alone. I'm not even going to get into all the build-up in the seasons before. Just his senior season. Some of the accolades that my guy got. Okay, he was first team All-CUSA that year. He was a Lou Groza Award semifinalist, which is for the best kicker in the country that year. He was a semifinalist. How many semifinalists are there? How many did they cut that to in that stage?
I believe they cut it to 15, I think.
Okay. Well, if you didn't make it further than that, they were wrong. So he was the semifinalist for the Groza Award. He was the Lou Groza Award Star of the Week for Week 2 that year. So that's the award from the people that decide that. He was CUSA Special Teams Player of the Week in Week 11. What game was that? Week 11, next to last game of the season. Was that Middle? Pretty sure you scored like 36 points against Middle one year.
It may have been Middle.
Okay. He broke his own record for points in a single season his senior year. The record that he had already set, he broke his own record. Led the nation in field goal percentage that year. Only missed one kick, and it was blocked. It wasn't his fault. And as a kicker, hit double-digit point totals in 5 of his 12 games that year. So almost half. That was just his 2015 season. Okay, so his career game highs, field goals made, he hit 4 kicks twice. 4 field goals in 2 different games. Scored 17 points against Middle Tennessee. And made 9 PATs. 9 extra. Who kicks 9 extra points in a game?
Me?
Like who are y'all just raining on so much that you guys scored at least 63 points on 2 different occasions, and you said that neither of those were against an FCS opponent. So, tell me the story about the FIU deal now. So we scored at least 63 points in that game, and we didn't finish the game.
Yeah.
Could have been worse.
It could have been. So there was just really bad weather, and it was raining literally from beginning to end of it, and got really hard at times, and then it let up, and eventually there were some actual thunderstorms and stuff like that. So they put the thing on hold, and we actually went in twice.
Golly.
And had like hour break each time. So the third time it happened,
in a game that you're winning by 50 points, and
it was 63 to 7, I think.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
So they just I think there were 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, surely to God you wouldn't have scored again, right?
No, we probably would.
So yeah, nine PATs on 2 different occasions. And then career records for total field goals made, 54.
Yep.
PATs made at 236, which is 6th most in FBS history, not just Western or CUSA, but the 6th most PATs made in a career in FBS history. You're the CUSA record holder for career field goal percentage. You got the school record for consecutive field goals made with 11. Hit 11 kicks in a row at one point. and maybe the most impressive stat, the all-time leading scorer at Western Kentucky by 100 points. Second place is 100 points behind, not even close. There's really good football players that don't score 100 points in their career, and you're leading the scoring race at Western Kentucky by 100 points.
Yeah, I was a kicker. I had to do something productive.
Well, I mean, when your offense is scoring 60 points a game, they're spotting you 6 or 7 of them a week just by you getting off the bus and not missing your extra points.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I went back and just kind of looked over the career. I had like 70 something my first year, and then it went up to like maybe 90.
Yeah.
And then it went to 118, and I broke the single season scoring record then.
Yeah.
And then my senior year came back and did 126 and broke the single season scoring record. That I broke before.
Yeah. So just shattering my own records, that's all.
Yeah, no big deal.
And then just recently, just last year, right, was the 100th season of Western Kentucky football.
Yes.
And they come out with the All-Century team and name old Garrett Schwettman the kicker for the Western Kentucky All-Century team. So tell me about that. How did you find out that was a thing?
It's really kind of cool because there's so many great people that have played at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
So to be on that team with guys that have been in the NFL and have their jerseys hanging up or are big time coaches now, like Willie Taggart, like is really an honor.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things that you kind of like, dang.
Yeah.
There's 100 years of football been going on, and I was the best at it in my position at this school.
Or at least somebody thinks you are.
Apparently.
Yeah. No, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I remember when it came out, and, Garrett and I have known each other for a pretty good little while now, and we're super, super close. He's one of my best friends in the world. And I remember for me when it came out and I saw it, I think I saw it on Twitter. It was the first place I saw it, and I was just so excited for you and so proud, and I was fired up. I couldn't wait to piece together my tweet to get it back out for you, and I couldn't imagine, kind of what it made you feel like, but that was really cool. So I appreciate it. Yeah. So then, I just spent about 15 minutes here talking about how awesome your career was at Western and all the cool stuff that you got to be a part of. You won a bunch of bowl games. What, you won 3 bowl games?
3 bowl games.
Yeah, won 3 bowl games. What was the year that you guys won, 12 games?
Yeah, we won 12 games. We went 12-2 my senior year.
Yeah.
Conference champs. First time in Conference USA history that the regular season champion and overall title champion.
Yeah. Yeah, because you guys won the conference championship game that year too.
Mm.
Yeah. So you've done all this stuff, man. You win these bowl games, you won all these games, you're breaking all these records, breaking all those records again. What is now looking back and you're a part of that program again now, and we'll talk about that later, but being around that program every day again, in a different capacity now, and being able to look back on it now that it's all over. What's all that mean? Does it mean anything? Like how special is that to you?
We, as a program, the last 2 years we've struggled, coaching changes and all that. But to be a part of the build and to making WKU more a national brand and more of a household name, being in the top 25 because I don't know, what was it, maybe 10 years ago, they made the transition from D1AA to D1, and just 2 years before I got there, they were 2-10, 0-12, 2-10. So the year before I got there, it looked bleak. They were in like 1-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, and then rattled off like 6 straight wins or something like that.
Yeah. Finally got the thing going a little bit.
So just kind of being a part of the build to what it is and what people know it as. Really high offense, a lot of points.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the year before you guys got there, they were 2-10 or whatever, and then you leave the thing at 12-2.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
with three different head coaches.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, that's insane. That's incredible. It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. And that's the crazy thing is there's just so much turnover because coaches come in, start to win at a place like that. It can be a real stepping stone for them.
Right.
We had Willie Taggart my freshman year. He left us, went home to USF, and then ended up at Oregon and Florida State.
Right.
Then we had Bobby Petrino again. Went back to Louisville, and then Coach Braun came in, and then he went to Purdue, and it's a job that doesn't look appealing to the eye to a lot of people because of where it's located and just the overall culture that Boilermaker football kind of has around it.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of great players through that place.
I mean, anybody that knows me and knows anything about what I like knows that
little Drew Breezy.
Man, that's my guy.
You love it.
Breeze was a Boilermaker, man, and that's what he was when I found him actually. And I may be unapologetically the biggest Drew Brees fan on the planet.
Absolutely.
Drew, if you're out there, let's get together and play around a golf sometime, bud. But Brees was a Boilermaker, man, and that's where I found him. And I'm like, this guy's he's got the same name as me, like the same number as me. Like, let's do the thing. And so, but no, he was a Boilermaker, man, and that's a program that I think has some potential. That it's a very similar situation for Coach Braun now because he came into a small market kind of place like that and turned and really kept it going, but won big at a place like that, and I think they're going to be able to get it going up there too. I'm excited to see that.
I think they're doing well recruiting wise, and like I was saying, he's a guy that doesn't have to be the big time place, doesn't have to be the Alabama, the Tennessees, the Floridas, whatever, Michigans. He doesn't have to be at those places. That's not kind of his MO. He's a really laid back dude, and just kind of knowing how he operates, he'd probably be very content with doing his whole career there at Purdue.
Yeah.
Just because they let him do what he needs to do, what he wants.
Yeah.
They literally have been feeding that program with the brand new facilities and the upgrades.
Yeah.
To their stadium and all of that. So, and he's getting what I think are some really dang coaches in there to help him out. Guys I played for know. Well,
there's a lot to be said about that. In this business, a lot of times we can get caught up in the flash, like recruits do. You get caught up in the flash and the level and the name and the history and all that stuff, and you kind of get caught up in that. But I had a really, really cool conversation, and you were actually there for it. When Frank Beamer came through Murray State when we were working there. Coach Beamer had retired from Virginia Tech, and we hosted one of his championship teams there for a homecoming game. We were talking to him and said, you guys were so good at Virginia Tech for so long, and you've got Bud Foster there, who's probably top 3 defensive coordinators in the country. And you've got all these, guys like Charlie Wiles, the defensive line coach that's been there with him for 20 plus years, and all these guys. And I kind of asked him, how were you able to keep those guys there?
Yeah.
Because, as successful as they've been, I know those guys have had opportunities to go and do bigger things and make more money and, do that stuff. And how were you able to keep those guys there with you? They were there for 23 years. Nobody stays anywhere 23 years in this business. Like, how were you able to do that? And he told me, he said, they they don't want to leave. He said that it's not worth all the extra. They could have made more money. They could have been head coaches, and they could have had their own programs and done that. But all the money and the name and the notoriety, it wasn't worth it because those guys are at Virginia Tech. They're the only ones who have ever done anything at Virginia Tech. They love them up there.
Mm-hmm.
They're making plenty of money that they're comfortable, and they don't need anything. It's not like they need more money. And it's home for them because they've been there forever. They're treated great. They're royalty up there, man. And his point was, if you leave, you might go get a head coaching job, and you might be awesome, and everything might go great, and you might go somewhere and stay there yourself for 23 years and win a ton of games. What if you don't? And then we've had to hire somebody for this thing, and you can't get this back, and now you're stuck doing, somewhere where you don't really like to be, and is it worth the risk? And he said for them, it just hadn't been worth the risk. To risk something that they know is so good for a maybe, maybe not type situation. And so I think we get caught up a lot in that and don't always really stop to kind of look around you and see how good you've really got it.
You also got to think, they run out the Inner Sandman, which just fires me.
Oh man, it's got to be one of the best entrances in college football. I can't think of a better one.
Grew up a huge Tennessee fan. Love when that T opens up and they run through it. Think it's great. The Rock at Clemson's awesome.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's a
night game in Blacksburg
thing.
They crank
especially the top 25 matchup or big time rival, whoever it is. That place. That's a bucket list right there.
I remember watching a few years ago, Notre Dame played them there at night. And the place was slam packed, and I just remember watching that game on TV, and the hair on the back of my neck standing. I got no affiliation to this game at all, and the hair on the back of my neck standing up, going, man, what an atmosphere! Yeah, How insane is that? And the place was nothing when they got it.
Yeah, they had like one side of it or something like that.
Well, I'm talking about the program in general. It was just a nothing program, and Coach Beamer got there, and they turned it into this, this monster that it is now. So getting back to you and kind of how you operate and the things that you've done. So you were able to have all this success, and you've done all these things and made some big time kicks and some big time situations, and you've been in some stuff like that. What built you to be able to operate the way that you did? And I like asking, people who are or at one time were elite level athletes, like, what gets your mind to that point? How were you? What about your childhood or your upbringing, or like what made you an ice cold field goal killer? Like, how does this happen?
One, I really appreciate you calling me an elite athlete.
Kickers love it, man.
We do. Well, that's something like I always really prided myself on, is being able to handle what's around me and what's in front of me. Whether it be, fourth quarter kick with no time left, you got to make it to win type deal, or even like going back to high school and it's 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, runner on third, like we got to get them in. I think just for me, a lot of it was my dad, old TK.
Old TK, that's my guy.
No, he was one to always push me and always go out and practice with me and whatever it was. And you gotta think, I was a 4-sport athlete.
Yeah.
And not an athlete as in I'm gonna run track or something like that, which nothing against track, but like I was soccer, baseball, basketball, and football.
A four team sport athlete.
Yes, and my two better ones were football and soccer. And then I was, what I would say was very contributive.
Yeah.
On the other two, and started and had all that, but I wasn't like quote unquote feared or anything like that in those two. The soccer field and the football field. There's a little.
He was a weapon.
I've been called that before. My high school coach called me a weapon, and I don't know how many different interviews he had. It's like, man, Schwettman really helped us out. And he's just a weapon.
And it's so funny because you guys can't see Garrett right now, and so you don't really understand how funny this is. But my man Garrett he's 5'11", he's an average height guy, but I bet he weighs 150 pounds right now, and he was probably right around that when he was in high school, just a little scrawny dude out there running around, and you got high school coaches giving interviews. This guy is a weapon.
Yeah, to be totally honest, when going into high school, I was 125.
That's my guy.
I going freshman year, and then I graduated at 150.
Yeah.
Probably the heaviest I got was in my senior year of college, was 185.
Yeah.
Area. I'm probably haven't worked out a lot lately.
It's in that post-career life.
But I eat a lot.
There you
I'll
go.
Say that. So I'm maybe still hanging around, maybe not my playing weight, but maybe a little less.
There you go. So then all this is over now, and you leave Western with every record there is for you to hold, and all this, and you leave, and then you had a couple opportunities to go and kick it around, and nothing shook, but you had a couple opportunities for that, and I think that because I was around when most of that was happening, and I think that kind of got overlooked in a way because of the disappointment that's associated with not getting the call back. But I've been to the place where you grew up, okay?
Yeah.
All right, I've seen the place. It's not a dump by any means, but it's not a mega place, okay? You didn't grow up with a ton of money. You didn't grow up with all this stuff. There's goats in your backyard. You live on the side of a tobacco field, okay? Great parents, phenomenal family, but you're just a kid from the tobacco fields of Western Kentucky, and you found your niche in this world and found what you were put here to do and what you're good at, and you maximized it as far as you could stretch this thing to the point where the kid who's got the house in the middle of the tobacco field gets to go kick for some pro scouts and gets to go have these opportunities. And I don't know, like I said, because of the disappointment that may be associated with not getting the call back, I don't know if maybe that got overlooked you were fighting an uphill battle there from the word go, and you found your niche and you maximized it, and you got a lot out of this thing,
Yeah, I don't know if I ever thought about it exactly like that, but yeah, you got to think about it this way. If you're a kicker or aspiring kicker and want to be at the highest level possible in the NFL or some type of professional range, whatever, there's more brain surgeons in this country than there are NFL kickers.
Yeah. Probably
more than like NFL and Arena League or together, maybe plus Canada. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not like wide receivers or linemen or.
You have one.
There's one of them.
You have one.
There's one. There's no practice squad. It's like, oh, if this guy gets hurt, we're going to give you a call. You don't have a job right now.
Right, and if you're a kicker in the NFL, that means you're one of the 32 best on the planet at your job.
Yes.
32 people on the planet get to do this job. And so, you're talking about, like, there's more NFL quarterbacks by a lot. There's almost three times as many NFL quarterbacks.
Yes.
Okay, and everybody talks about how elite that position is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's one of these guys on every team. You're one of the 32 best in the world. So whatever you do, whether you're a coach, whether you're a business, person, whether you're whatever it is that you do for a living, stop and think about that for a second. And ask yourself, what would I have to do to become one of the 32 best on the planet at what I do?
Yeah.
And how hard must that be?
Yeah.
And to know that you didn't get the call back, but you were close enough that you were talking to those guys. And where does that really put you in that mix? And that's got to mean something.
Yeah, and that's like, it's one of those things like, a lot of people, a lot of kids growing up aspire to be a professional and want to be in the NFL. And honestly, I didn't have that dream growing up. Uh, I was always a soccer kid personally.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I just want to be great. And to even get an opportunity to talk with these teams and be able to showcase what I can do in front of them, um, stopping and thinking about it is just humbling and it's just one of those things like, no, I didn't make it, but I came close. I came this far. You think percentages of high school kids that go play college ball,
Yeah.
and then you think of percentages of college guys going to the NFL. I mean, there's how many teams are there?
32.
And how many rosters?
53.
53 a team, and then I don't know, practice squads probably
10 or so.
Yeah, I mean,
So I mean, we're not talking about a lot of people here.
no, that's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's not a lot for how many college teams and how many players are on college teams. Like the ratio is so off.
There are there's 120 something FBS teams alone right now,
alone.
And they've all got 85 scholarship players on them.
Yes, plus 25 walk-ons.
Yeah, and so
or 20 walk-ons.
And that's 120 some odd teams, not to mention your 130, 140 some odd FCS programs, all your Division twos, and so you're talking about upwards of 1,000 programs with at least 90, 95 kids on them.
Yeah.
And then you whittle that down to 32 teams of 53 people plus practice squad. And that's, I think a lot of times the recruits, I see this a lot in recruiting. You ask kids, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? When all this is over and the ball stops spinning, what do you want to do? And they say, I'm going to the league, coach. And I said, well, I hope you do. But the reality is you're talking about the top 1% of the top 1%.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? And so I don't think people always understand how elite that is when they haven't seen it. But at any rate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
I grew up wanting to be a dentist. I didn't imagine I'd be coaching ball.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine I'd be playing high level college football and all of that. And so just take a minute and think about really what you want to do. Education's got to be your number one thing.
For sure.
Figure out what you can fall back on.
For sure. And then go chase it as long as they'll let you chase it. Because you were working with us, and we're about to get into kind of your coaching career here, and this kind of is a perfect segue, but you were working with us at Murray State, running special team stuff, and you're still getting phone calls.
Yeah.
And we didn't really know, okay, he's here, he's working today, but he might be gone anytime, at the drop of a hat. And so you were chasing that thing as long as you thought somebody would let you chase it while you were still working on your kind of backup plan.
Yeah, and for me, it wasn't one of those things like, I don't know. It's one of those things like you have to know when to stop trying. You have to go out on your own terms, essentially.
Sure.
And I had Arena League tryout. Thought I did really well. And came back and didn't get that phone call.
Yeah.
And that was probably the fourth rejection or something like that. And it was just I wasn't hurt by it, but it was one of those things like, hey, I can keep trying to do this and I can keep trying to coach at the same time, or I could just put everything into one.
You weren't able to put all of your effort into any one thing because you're splitting your time so much.
Exactly. And I think I just sat down and really tried to figure it out one evening, and the love and joy and everything that I got from the game of football playing just wasn't exactly matching the fun and joy and everything that I was getting out of coaching at the time. And I don't regret the decision at all. It was my time. I wanted to do it, and I had a blast getting to coach 18 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah. So what made the decision then for you to kind of move into that? Of all the things, I mean, what's your degree in? What did you graduate with a degree in?
Sports management.
Okay, so you could have done any number of things here in the sports field, and you decided to get into the coaching realm. What made that kind of decision?
It was my college coordinator, my special teams coordinator. He just, the more I was around the game and more I was around him, and he'd come ask me questions during the week, kind of game plan wise. Even though I was just the field goal kicker, I didn't kick off, I didn't punt, but I had learned certain things, and I'd always sit down with him during the week and just watch some of the tape of who we're about to play. And if you don't know this, coaches spend about 2 days game planning for who they're gonna play, and I essentially got to be a part of that.
Yeah.
My junior to senior year, I started doing that with him, and then I still wasn't really sure. Thought I was gonna still try to do something else in the sports realm, but then ended up finishing my career. He left, went to Virginia, or went to UTSA. Now is at Virginia, and a man by the name of Tony Levine, former Houston head coach, been with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, man's been everywhere. He came in as the special teams coordinator. And I asked him if that spring if I could be out there with the guys and just kind of help them, because I was kind of the leader, so to speak. And I wanted to do my part to kind of help transition these guys in a way, but also really for me, see if it's something I wanted to do. So I got to see what all went into it on a daily basis. I didn't have a lot of school. I had some online stuff. So I haven't had more free time. So all I did was train for pro day, and work in the office. And then did homework later on.
Yeah.
So I was just like, man, I really enjoy just getting to watch film and breaking down and getting to talk to guys and teach, and I think it just clicked for me, and luckily I was able to go back to Murray State and get to be a part of that staff as a special teams quality control guy. Get to work with the kickers, Coach Johnson.
Yeah.
Get to learn a lot.
Yeah.
And then had an opportunity to go way south.
Way south.
Couldn't
go much more south.
To Naples, Florida. If you don't know where Naples, Florida is, go to Miami and look straight across to the other coast. That's where Naples is. And I got to essentially be the special teams coordinator down there, and kind of get a taste of running the show.
Yeah.
Which was enjoyable. It was a learning experience, kind of getting to handle daily operations, practice, running drills, all of that. Also had a lot more headaches. Even though I wasn't the full-time coach, being the coordinator, I got to say my 2 cents and game plan and do all of that, and it was exciting, but it was not for me.
You know, and I can kind of speak from experience on this from some of the past jobs that I've had. I'll tell you that there's a lot of times when you're in a position and you're going, golly, what is this? You know, some of the places I've been before, man, and I'm going, I can't get out of here. And then when when you get out and you can look back on how everything actually happened, you say, man, that was that may have been the best thing that could have happened to me at the time.
No
Because
doubt.
it puts your feet to the fire and it forces you to learn.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn and you're gonna fail, and so you'll figure it out.
And that's what I don't think a lot of people realize is that, especially as a young coach, if you go to a small school, like where I was at NAIA or D3, D2, whatever it is, you're not just a ball coach.
Oh no.
You're the ball coach, equipment manager, DFO, everything. Like you gotta wash the shorts, wash their drawers, all.
Oh yeah.
Like you gotta do the laundry. It's because you don't have the resources,
Sure.
essentially to get all of that handled, with the amount of money that a program may have. So you have to divide and conquer among the staff.
That's it.
That you got.
And then when you get to the chair that you're in now,
Yeah.
you get the phone call back from the Hill.
Yeah.
And they call Hercules the legend back home. How did all that happen?
So what's funny is I ended up leaving Ave, the NAIA school.
Yep.
Because I had got engaged. And I was like, I can't be 16 hours away. I need to go back up. I'm going to find something, even if it's working at a high school right now.
Yeah.
Like, cool. I'll figure it out. Luckily, was able to get back to Murray State.
Yeah.
In a totally different capacity.
Yeah.
As the video coordinator.
Yeah.
And
that lasted how? Just one more thing scratched off my list. How long did that last? What was that, about a month?
I think it was, let's see, it was 2 months.
Okay.
It was 2 months. So, I got the call almost right before we were starting spring practice. So I know that really frustrated the coach.
Sure, but
But
that's
it was
the deal, man.
Yeah,
it happens.
It was an opportunity to go to a place that invested in me and that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Get to be a graduate assistant, so I get to further my education and get my master's, and just be in a familiar place for me at the same time. And the staff had turned over and changed from when I was there, so I was walking into a place that I knew the program, but I didn't know who was running it.
You didn't know. You knew the program. You didn't know the people.
Yeah. And
which
so
makes all the difference in the world.
All of it. And I went in there and had a good first year, and then came back at it this year and with a new coaching staff again. Just keeps turning over.
Yeah.
But I really, really am excited about the staff we have going into this year. And a lot of the guys have been at campus before at some point in their career, or they're just great guys and great people to work with. It's funny, we're occasionally together, especially if we go on the road for camp or recruiting, whatever it is, and we spend time together. There's not a lot of staffs that just spend time together, so that's something that we're really looking forward to, because when your coach's chemistry is right,
makes all the difference
in turn, you start winning some ball games, and that's what we're hopeful starts happening.
Sure.
Let's get a little turnaround.
Sure, and that's kind of what this show is all about. We spend a lot of time, because you're a little bit of a unique situation, because you do have so many accolades, and you do have all this stuff, and so we've spent a lot of time actually talking about football this episode, but the show is actually for that stuff, man. It's about the brotherhoods that are built in this thing, and I've said it 5 times, but you're one of my best friends in the world, and if it wasn't for this game, we'd have never been in the same state as each other,
No doubt.
So and everything that I've got, and all the cool places that I like to tell stories about that I've been, is all because of this game. And I know that you're the same way, but getting off the field and away from the game and all that, what in your life, just as a dude, do you feel like you're better at because of what you've learned from football?
Oh,
The people that you met, the places you've been, the lessons that the game taught you. How are you better as a guy?
My wife probably thinks completely opposite of this. But I try to be as detailed as possible.
Sure.
I have a little OCD tendency. So
that's very kickerish of you.
Well, yeah, everything has to be detailed and
that's right,
and on point and very precise. So I feel like that's something that is helpful and great. But I think overall, just with this game and really athletics in general, can just teach a person, and with responsibility and being trustworthy and everything that comes with being on a team. I think that was probably the best thing that came out of it. Just because like you said earlier, I have great parents, and they instilled a lot of great things into me and a lot of discipline and all this. But when you get together with a group of people who have one common goal, you form a bond. You start relying on them. You have their back and everything like that. And
because you need them to get done what you need to get done.
Exactly. So like when we were at Murray State together, like you said, that's where our friendship started. And what's 4 years?
4 years now.
4 years now. And literally one of my best friends, just because of our year together. There.
Yeah.
And
we have not worked with each other much longer than we did.
Yes.
And that's the thing that's so great about this too, is it's camp season right now. Yeah. So we're working all these summer camps, and you're getting to see all these guys that you haven't worked with for 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's when you see those guys and you've been in the fire with them and you've had that relationship, forged by the game. It's like you never left.
Never left at all. And I think that's what's great, and that's similar to just being on the team and having teammates. But coaches can form that bond so quickly as well.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that, obviously we hit it on this show from a perspective of football, but this is any athletic team. If you're in the military, whatever unit you were in there, any successful business that you've ever run, that your office was right, and that the bonds that were built there are right, and that's what this show is supposed to be really all about is the team dynamic and how good that is for us, and how important that is, whether it's sports, whether it's military, whether it's business, whether it's whatever it is that you do, that team dynamic and the bonds that you build with those people, and what you get externally from those bonds and how they help you. It's phenomenal. But
no doubt.
So the last question that I'm going to ask everybody on this thing, what coaches out there have had the biggest impact on you, on the field, off the field? What 1, 2, 3 handful of coaches do you really point at and say that guy really made an impact in my life?
I would say first would be my dad, just because he's always been my coach.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I went to high school and off to college, where he wasn't the official coach of the team,
right?
He's always my coach, whether it be sports or life. He's dad, but he's coach.
Dry it up, Tom.
and I think he has probably put more into me than I can ever put back into him.
Sure.
And I can't thank him enough for that. But he's definitely one.
And I know that you're very grateful for that, but and neither of us have kids yet, so I don't think we really fully understand it. But I know that I know that there isn't a warm body on this earth who's more proud of you than that man.
No, there's.
And I
maybe my sister.
potentially.
I mean,
Close.
Listen, okay, for a 5'8", 6, I may have given her a few inches, 120-pound girl, willing to stand up in a rowdy crowd
Yeah.
of Marshall Herd fans because they roughed the kicker. They roughed me my junior year, and their fans are going crazy.
Maddie's ready to go fight.
Maddie's ready to go fight. Like Maddie doesn't really curse at all.
And that's a tough rivalry too, man. That's not like
that's
some Saturday afternoon.
That's where it started too.
Yeah, that's not some Saturday afternoon, man.
That was their undefeated season,
Ugh.
and we came in and beat them in overtime. And I mean, Maddie's up yelling at this dude. Learn the effing rules. Like, if my parents are right there too.
Your mom's eyeballs are popping out of her head.
Out of her head, no doubt. She's over there chewing her fingernails.
Yeah.
And Dad just has to step in the way. It's like, Maddie, it's okay. You learn the rules. It doesn't. Just because you ran into them and they blocked it doesn't mean anything.
She's losing it.
Like, oh my gosh, like willing to fight for me.
For sure.
No doubt. So, yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah.
Although,
yeah,
mom doesn't publicize. Mom doesn't talk about it.
Sure.
All of that.
Oh, Tom will tell anybody. He'll tell whoever will stand still long enough. So I cut you off there. Who are your so besides Tom, who are our other impactful coaches?
I'd have to say Ricky Brumfield, who's the special teams coordinator at University of Virginia.
Yep.
Being my coordinator as a player, just the way he impacted me and kind of the lessons he taught along the way, he was big time. Just kind of a influential father figure type person to me. And then Tony Levine, even though like we were together a couple months, just the way he works with such diligence and precision, everything is detailed out and very, very, like, if there's a mistake in something, he would find it in a heartbeat. He's just that detailed, and it could be something that's, hey, there's a crumb on the other side of this room. I can see it from here. Where, coach? Right there.
Yeah.
He's just one of those type of guys. He's just the attention to detail with him, and I think that's something that he truly kind of poured that over to me, and I think also guy I worked with last year, Maurice Crum, the linebackers coach at Western right now. He's a guy who's a young, energetic, hard-nosed dude.
Yeah, and was a phenomenal player in his own right.
Yeah, no doubt. Notre Dame.
Grew up watching Crum, man.
Yeah, he was a guy that taught me a lot, and if I can be, half the coach those guys are, then I feel like I'll have a pretty decent career. But luckily, I've had those guys who just kind of gotten to pour into me and kind of point me in the right direction and not necessarily spoon feed me, but
that's what it's about, man. It's about learning from these guys that have done it, and then keeping the thing moving and giving it on to somebody else.
Yeah, no doubt, and just hope that you can be as effective as they are, with whether it be how you say stuff, what you say, whether it be in the work that you do, whatever it is. I think those guys for me stand out to kind of have an effect of who I am and what I am as a coach.
Sure. Gee, that's all I've got, man. This has been awesome. It's been a lot of fun to sit down and talk through some of this stuff with you. But
We could just keep going.
oh, this show could go on forever. And we were speaking a little bit before we started recording today that I think we're going to do the couple show with you and Lindsay. We're going to have you on and Christina and I, and we're going to talk about kind of the football wife dynamic.
I think we have to.
And what they put up with, and so. That's gonna. I'm as excited as I was about this show. I'm really, really excited about that one.
Well, that's because you love my wife.
She's phenomenal.
She is, and she puts up with me. But so underrated of coaches' wives, man.
For sure.
Coaches' wives might be the toughest job out there.
Absolutely.
I mean,
without question.
You don't see your husbands for 4 or 5 months straight. And then they get a little break. Then they get to go recruiting for a couple months.
Yeah.
Like you just,
there's a lot of independence that happens there, and a lot of weight that's carried by them, and a lot of, and people don't see that.
No.
People see the coaches when they're on ESPN, and they see all that stuff, and they don't know. They don't think about those guys got a house. Those guys have kids.
Yeah.
Those guys have whatever, and somebody's running all that while he's gallivanting off coaching football.
And you see these reports of affairs and all of this, and it's not an excuse at all, but like these guys are gone.
Yeah.
And when they're not rooted in the right stuff, they can fall just as quickly as they got up to that point.
And that's the struggle. I have that talk a lot with other coaches, and I don't want to steal too much from the wives episode, but I have that talk a lot with coaches of, hey, how do you keep this thing going? How do you keep your relationship with your kids right? How do you keep your relationship with your wife right? How do you do that stuff? And that's something we talk about a lot, but I don't want to steal too much thunder from them.
We'll wait on that one.
Yeah. So, Garrett, tell these people where they can find you on social media, man.
At Coach Schwettman. On Twitter.
That is SCHWETTMAN.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on there and be willing to chat anytime with anybody who loves the game. That's for sure.
That's at Coach Schwettman. I am at Coach Burn D on Twitter. Coach Burn D, hit me up. I'd love to take some questions from you guys, man, and really find out what you want to know about this business, about the impact that athletics has on people's lives. Any kind of questions that you have, man, send them on over. I'd love to answer them on the show. But that's what I've got for tonight. So, Garrett, thank you for being on here, man. I enjoyed it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's always great when we get together. Let's go get some food.
Let's do it. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening. This has been episode 2. Catch us next week. Thanks so much. Good night.